Hello and welcome back to our channel, and today we are going to be looking at simple and compound interest. And let's get started. So basically in class 7th you've already learned about the simple interest, but in this chapter we will explore more difficult questions based on simple interest and also introduce the concept of compound interest and how these two differ from each other. So we first start with the simple interest. So let's first look at some of the concepts and major key points or keywords that are used in this particular simple interest or compound interest formula. So the first one is the principal. So the principal is basically the money borrowed by the borrower from the lender. And the next one is the interest, which is the additional money paid by the borrower to the money lender in lieu of the money. The next keyword is the amount, and that is the total money paid by the borrower. And this is the addition of the principal and the interest. And finally, we have the rate, which is the interest that is paid on 100 rupees for a specified period. So these are the keywords that we are going to look into whenever we are tackling any simple interest or compound interest problem. So let me give you a bit of an understanding what a rate means and what this exactly means when we are tackling any kind of a question. So let's just say the rate of 6.5% per annum means that for rupees 100 that has been borrowed per annum or every year, the interest paid would be rupees 6.5 or 6 rupees 50 paise in a year. Similarly, rate of say 2.5% per quarter. What does it mean? So for every 100 rupees borrowed, the interest paid is rupees 2.5 for 3 months. So that's the basic difference. But that gives us a bit of an understanding what a rate exactly means and what it is specified in a particular time period. And that's how it goes. The next keyword to look for is time. And this is a time period for which the money has been borrowed. And this is also the time for which the interest is being calculated. And that's a major part of any of the simple or compound interest equations. So now let's get started with simple interest. For you to understand simple interest, it is calculated on the principal amount for the specified rate and specified time period. So let's understand the formula of simple interest. Let me first write that down. Simple interest can be defined as the multiplication of principal, rate, and time divided by 100. So that gives us the simple interest. So in solving different kinds of problem, we can be asked to calculate principal, rate, or time when the simple interest is already given. So in such a scenario, we can always interchange these values to get the desired equation. So say if we want to calculate the principal, so that would be simple interest into 100 by rate into time. Similarly, for rate, we will have simple interest into 100 divided by principal into time. And for time is equal to simple interest into 100 divided by principal into rate. So that's how we can actually specify whichever thing is needed to be calculated in our question. Next, let us look at the amount and how do we calculate it. So as we have already specified that the amount is the addition of the principal amount and the simple interest. So let's just keep that as amount equal to principal plus simple interest. We can actually open this bracket. This comes out to be principal plus PRT by 100. You can take P common, then you have 1 plus RT over 100. And therefore, this becomes the amount or the formula for amount. And through this, we can directly calculate the amount without needing to calculate simple interest and then adding principal onto it. So let's start with our first example on simple interest. So a sum of rupees 15,000 has been borrowed at a rate of 15% per annum for 3 years. So now we need to find the simple interest on this sum and the amount that needs to be paid at the end of 3 years. So let's get started with this and we'll use the simple interest and the amount formula for this. So first let's pick out all the things that have been given. So our principal is 15,000 rupees. Our rate is 15%. Our time period is 3 years. So for simple interest, we know the formula is PRT by 100. We'll quickly write that down as 15,000 into 15 into 3 by 100. And this comes out to be rupees 6,750. And on top of it, we can find the amount as principal plus simple interest. And that comes out to be 15,000 plus 6,750, which comes out to be rupees 21,750. So that's a very simple question and That's how we calculate our simple interest and amount. This is the kind of question that's going to come in most of the exams, and it's very simple to get on with it. So let's look at our second question, and this is a bit of a different question from the basic question that we did just now. So it asks us what sum of money will fetch 661.50 rupees as simple interest in 1 year and 9 months at 6 2 by 3% per annum rate of simple interest. So in this we have been given the simple interest of rupees 661.5, time period of 1 year, 9 months, and the rate of 6 2 by 3%. And we need to find the principal. So let's just write that down. So our simple interest is, our time period is, so time has been converted into years. And if you don't understand this, please do let me know in the comments down below. The time period comes out to be this, and our rate comes out to be 6 2 by 3% or 20 by 3%. So we know that the formula of principal would be simple interest into 100 by rate into time. We'll just plug these values in. We'll get 661.50 into 100 divided by 20 by 3 into 7 by 4. So 3 out of the 20 by 30 will go up in the numerator, and same would be for the 4 in 7 by 4, it will go in the numerator. And this gives us the value of rupees 5,670. And that is our principal amount. So this is a bit of a conversion from the previous same formula of simple interest, and that's how we calculate any value from principal, rate, or time. Let's move on to another question. So in this question, it asks like, in what time will the simple interest on a certain sum of money at 6 1/4 per annum interest would become 3/8 of itself? So this is a question where we don't know the value of the simple interest or the principal, and we actually don't need that. And you'll see that through our process below. Let's take the principal amount to be P. We know that the rate is 6 1 by 4% or 6.25%. Our time is, need to calculate, and our simple interest is 3/8 of the principal. And we need to find the time. So using the formula we already know, time is equal to simple interest divided by principal into rate. So our simple interest is 3 by 8 of principal into 100 divided by the principal P and rate of 6.25. So the P cancels out in both, and this gives us the value of 6. So to get the simple interest on this principal to be 3/8 of itself, it needs 6 years. This brings us to the end of our questions on simple interest, and now we will be moving on to a more complex structure of calculating interest, and that is compound interest. So let me give you a bit of context on what a compound interest is. So in the real world, we never use simple interest, or the banks or any insurance company, post office, no one uses simple interest, but we use compound interest. And what does compound interest exactly mean is that these institutions calculate the interest for 1 year again and again, as opposed to a simple interest where we calculate the interest in one go for, say, as many years as you want. And this yearly interest, which we calculate, is added onto the principal every year, and then we get the new amount. And this new amount then acts as a principal, and then we calculate another interest on top of it, and the cycle goes on. So let me show you what exactly compound interest is, and we'll do that through a very practical example. So we have this question where a person invests 12,000 rupees for 3 years at 10% per annum compound interest in Bank of Baroda. So in this, we need to find the compound interest in the second year and compound interest in the third year. So let's get started. So I'll just write down all the three variables that we have. So you have principal at 12,000 rupees. Our time horizon is 3 years, and our rate is 10%. So let's first calculate the interest for first year. So because compound interest is calculated for every year, the time horizon t equal to 3 years does not make a difference, or like it won't be used in our calculation. And let me show you how that happens. So our principal for this year remains as 12,000 rupees. And this interest for first year would be P into R by 100. And that comes out to be, I'll just write that as P1 because that's for principal for year 1. So P1 is around our 12,000, rate is 10% over 100, and this gives us an interest of 1,200 rupees. So our amount for year 1, I'll write that as A1, would be P1 plus interest for first year, I'll write that as I1, P1 plus I1, and this gives us 12,000 plus 1,200, and that comes out to be rupees 13,200. Now, this amount A1 would become the principal for the second year. So let's calculate compound interest for second year. And here we need to understand that the principal for second year would become the amount from first year, that is rupees 13,200. Our rate would remain the same, and that is 10%. So our interest for second year, that is I2, would become P2 into R by 100, and that is 13,200 into 10 by 100, and this comes out to be 1,320. Now we'll calculate the amount. So this is our first one. This is the compound interest for second year. We'll calculate the amount for second year, and that is the principal in the second year plus the interest in the second year, and that is 13,200 plus 1,320, and this comes out to be 14,520 rupees. Finally, let's calculate the compound interest for the third year. And here we again do the principal for third year would be the amount for second year, and that is rupees 14,520. Our rate remains the same, that is 10%, and our interest for the third year comes out to be principal for the third year into rate by 100, that is 14,520 into 10 by 100, and this comes out to be 1,452 rupees. And that is our compound interest for the third year, and that's how we calculate it.